Take two, yes, you heard me right. Take two. I was about 2 minutes into a video I just started recording, but I realised that the audio would be absolutely terrible because basically I had the audio over here, and you probably can't really hear me properly. And if you can, I don't have any direct feedback like in a live stream, so I just thought to hell with this. I'm going to bring the microphone a bit closer to me like this. As you can see, I'm in a bit of a different environment for this video, still in the front room. I just thought I may give it a go sitting down here in a bit more comfortable surroundings on a sofa rather than being sat on a wooden chair, and I'm just in absolute agony because it's not particularly comfortable. But you're in good spirits, Steve, I see. You were a miserable cunt yesterday. Yeah. Yep, that's right, I was. But now it's a new day. And essentially, I've completely forgotten anything to do with fantasy football, to be completely honest with you. I want to start off with this, though, because I do like occasionally doing basic research into mine and Jason's video streams, whatever, just basic research. And it's things like this that just, well, this one simple clip says it all. Channel is very different and unique, and for one of those reasons, because miserable bastards like me and Jason get really pissed off at what goes wrong in the world of FPL, and the fact that Matoma isn't playing is just it's just so frustrating. I can't imagine what Alex Volo's feeling like, to be honest with you, but the way I'm actually consuming today's content, we've got Nottingham Forest on screen, Liverpool in one ear. I've got some lad from some channel called AVFC Stato live streaming the Aston Villa game. So the only game that needs covering, Brighton Sheffield United, but I couldn't give a flying fuck about it anymore. I put in the Discord about someone joining, which is so very, very true. I think the hardest thing for us here at Elite FPL is the fact that a lot of the stuff we do is live, and it's reacting to a game that we take seriously, a hobby that's kind of turned into like a part-time job that doesn't get paid, which is true. That's the truth of the matter. In realities, this is pretty much a part-time job in which me and Jason don't get a penny for, and that's, by the way, I'm not complaining. I'm just making the point. And when you're, like Dan said, when you're doing something like this, which you're reacting to things, yes, you can do things clean cut. I get all that, but it just stops you as being a person. And I'll be completely frank now, members, this is just going to be an open conversation. It's just going to be a total Steve-O style podcast. It's not going to be a fantasy football one per se. I'm not really going to be talking about that because I just, as it stands, I just don't want to talk about it because I did enough talking yesterday. Oh, sorry, Matty FPL did enough talking yesterday. We'll get onto that in a minute. Can't wait. But if you're unaware, Mark Goldbridge did a really interesting podcast with a guy called... I keep losing the damn thing, which is really frustrating. He did an interview with somebody, one of his mates. And it was a really, really interesting interview in which me and Jason actually spoke about it afterwards. After the stream last night, and we'll go on to the conversation in a minute about that, because me and Jason actually spoke for half an hour after the stream yesterday, which is very, very rare. Very rare for me and Jason to be talking after a stream. Yeah, it was on a channel called Making Independent Content with Mark Goldbridge, and of course the fucking channel isn't there. Jesus fucking Christ, I just want some shitty link. Inside the industry. Inside the industry, in which inside industry, and it's a really, really interesting chat with Brent, with Mark Goldbridge, a genuinely really interesting conversation. And Mark talks about the live streaming aspect of things and why he started doing it. And he makes the point about when he was doing this content, it was because it was an easy way to interact with people rather than being on a forum site and waiting for X amount of minutes or whatever to make a 30-second point or just make a sentence point back. You know, it's the same with Discord, isn't it? It's the same with anything in life nowadays. But back then in 2014, I think it was, completely different world back then when it came to the internet and the way things were done. And I always say this, like, YouTube was nothing like it is now 10 years ago. YouTube's just a TV channel. That's all it is. YouTube is literally just a TV channel. Whereas back then, it was, from what I remember, it was live streaming and essentially just informative videos about whatever you were interested in. Now it's a completely different market completely. Whether that's good or bad thing, you know, I'm not here to say, but as David Brent says. David Brent me or David Brent Mark Goldbridge, same person. But he was just talking about the live stream aspect and interacting with all these people and everything. But it's your live reaction. And then he obviously goes into detail, talks details about the United Stand and him doing the show that he does to this day. Same with That's Football, and how essentially he has created a character of himself. So whether you're aware or not, Mark Goldbridge isn't his real name. But he has created a Mark Goldbridge character which, within reason, is true to himself. But he has crafted an individual where he knows it will, let's get real here, get the clicks, get the people talking about it. And it was just a really, really interesting chat with a bloke that I relate with a lot. And Jason actually made the same point yesterday. And the only difference, obviously, between his stuff and our stuff is that he's broadcasting this to like 90,000 people. I mean, his United Stand gets an average viewership live of, let's just say, 60,000 people, whereas his That's Football gets an average of about 20,000 people. You know, he's not talking to like we do, you know, like 100 people, or Andy, who's kindly become a member of this channel, where he's talking to 20,000 people. I do talk about that a lot, slagging him off, and you. No, but in all seriousness, like even with Andy on his deadline streams, like I occasionally tune in. It's very rare, but I occasionally tune in, and like I'm one of like 10,000 people, 20,000 people. I think his comment below, Andy, if you're watching. But in all seriousness, I think his deadline stream, the very first game week 1 deadline stream, he had something like 30,000 people watching, and he openly admits, like, he just chats in front of a camera while people throw him super chats and answering questions. And Mark Goldbridge is the same. He's just reacting to a football match that he's watching, and people are lapping it all up and stuff, but he does find it very, very, very difficult sometimes. In fact, he came out with the line that I've come out with on several occasions, which is, sometimes I really cannot be fucked to do this anymore. I can't deal with it. Like Dan highlighted the point the other day, didn't he, about the fact that whether you're having a good game week, whether you're having a bad game week, you're here talking to an audience about your emotions and feelings, same thing, about what's just happened to your team. And then you've got people in the chat who are throwing conversation pieces at you, but they're mainly statements, and as a lot of people know, like Harry will know or Andy will know, that do these live streaming shows, is that they're not, the questions are conversation pieces, and then you get a lot of people making statements which, yeah, they're conversation pieces, but it's like there's nothing I can add because you're just making a point about whatever that is, and that's it. You're just adding to the conversation. But then you will get a lot of people that are just essentially saying, you're an idiot for doing this, you're an idiot for doing that. For instance, we had a guy yesterday or the day before who, when I mentioned about doing Martinelli to Saka, it was just an instant, essentially, why would you do this for? What is the point in this? He's played one game, but it's like, yeah, but he hasn't just played one game, has Martinelli? He's played 12 games and he's done fuck all. Whereas Saka has been consistently producing assist after assist after assist after double-digit return after double-digit return all season. So that data suggests Saka is the one to get. And then if I've got, is this FPL chat at the moment? If I had a preferential order, it would be Saka, Trossard, Martinelli for the midfielder to bring in from Arsenal. So if you can afford to get Saka, get him. If you can get Trossard in and you want to get an Arsenal midfielder, Jason, get him. And then Martinelli is the last option on that list. Now, I was very, very, very tempted last night because, like I said, when I'm doing the streams, you're listening to the conversations, while you're not talking, you're kind of like looking at your team and everything, and all these thought processes go through your head. And like I said, I was going to be raised transferring like a -16 yesterday, which involved something like Alvarez out for Darwin, Gordon in for Martinelli, Adingra in for Matoma, Saka in, Bowen in. It was Bowen in for Martinelli, and then Adingra in for Matoma, and then you had Matty Cash to be downgraded to whoever, and all these thought processes going through my fucking mind. And even last night on stream, I had a transfer -8, which was Nketiah and Louise out for Trossard and Semenyo. I didn't do it, obviously, and I say obviously, you won't have a clue, but I didn't do it, and I have thrown the phone away, and I'm not looking at fantasy football for a few days or whatever, because I don't need to look at it. I've done my transfer. I did it last night. It was for free, so it was a sign from the FPL god. The FPL god said, you've got the exact money to do Matoma to Bowen. Do it now. You want to bring him in anyway, just do it. I've done it. Bowen went up by 0.7 last night, so sorry, by point, God, if he went up by 0.7. He went up by 0.1 last night, so he's 7.7, so I'm glad I've done that move. And I think get past the Brentford game, and then I think I will do that, because then I'll have that one game data of where Arteta's head will be for his front three against Brentford, even though Brentford is a very, very difficult match here. But then Arsenal have got the so-called relatively easy run of fixtures, and I think at that point it's like, right, let's hear the talk about Nketiah. Where does he fit in Arteta's plans? Is he first choice, or is he just a backup to... is he the backup now to the backup? So now Trossard's taken over, performing very well in that front three. Is Nketiah the one which actually is going to be missing out? I don't know. But certainly I think that for me, Trossard's the one I think Jason will be bringing in. In fact, Jason's probably already done it. to be honest with you. He's probably already done the move that he wanted to do last night, because he's quite aggressive when it comes to transfers. I think with Jason, he literally just goes, I've got a thought process, fuck it, I'm just going to do it, and then I just don't have to think about FPL for 2 weeks or whatever the time period is. But talking of the live streaming and whatnot, and listening into that Aston Villa streamer, which ironically I didn't need to do, because actually 5 Live's commentary team that were covering the game, when they were actually quicker than this guy streaming. And what I mean by that is, just to clarify, he's watching the game live. I've then got the Liverpool game in my ear from 5 Live Extra, but their response to when a goal goes in was actually, for Aston Villa, was actually quicker than the guy watching on stream. So it was kind of pointless me listening in. But what I always find interesting listening into other streamers, because sometimes, like I say, doing research is a very, 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 very good tool for you to use when it comes to creating your own content. And I found it really interesting when he came out with this line, and it was so fake. And I thought, you sell out, you're a fraud. You're a con man. Like Bumble, you're a con. And he literally said that he deliberately tweets out, I know a lot of people do this, but he deliberately tweets out stuff that will get interactions, which in turn means that it gets interacting with him, which may potentially mean that people go to his YouTube channel. I get it. I just thought, Jesus Christ, no disrespect. You think this camera angle here is bad now? His was from up above. So he had the camera looking upwards at him. Think about that. So his camera was kind of like on the side, looking upwards. It was a terrible camera angle. There was no setup or anything. It was very, 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 very basic. He had a lot of subscribers, don't get me wrong, but when your specific channel is covering a very large football club, you're going to get a big following. He's got something like 8,000 subscribers, and he had about 60 people watching him. And for the comments that he was coming out with, I just thought, dude, like, why? Why are you trying to sell your soul? For what? For what reason are you trying to sell your soul? You know, we go to like Andy and we go to Harry, and they've always been consistently the same. You know, I openly admit it's not particularly my kind of content I like watching. However, I do appreciate what these people do. And to be completely frank with you, Andy and Harry are pretty honest when it comes to their content, in the sense of they've always done it the way they do. Whereas I've seen other content creators in the fantasy football world, they'll sell their soul. I know for a fact they've sold their soul to get to a very, very good level. And it's down to them. And then I also hear that these individuals, some of them, don't really like doing what they're doing. They're too busy trying to work out an algorithm. In fact, FPL Focal's another one that's very true to himself. I put him in that category as well, of being true to himself. He just does that content because that's what he enjoys doing. But there are others out there, I know for a fact, that do not enjoy doing the content that they do because they're just constantly chasing how to figure out the algorithm. Dan, if we're going to talk about that, Dan is another one. No, you'll talk about Steve. We're just the poor bastards listening into this. Dan, who works in the social media world, and it's his job how to help businesses improve with their social media, is somebody that openly admits that he is trying to work out how the algorithm works. But after a while, it's just an absolute fucking waste of time. Because algorithms are constantly changing over and over and over. It's like when I was on for instance, when I was using TikTok, and it wasn't about me, it was about wrestling videos, literally just WWE wrestling videos from the Attitude Era. In fact, this is when we're going to get cancelled now. I'll play it from a distance, shall we say. But all I was doing was uploading videos like this. This is going to get us cancelled now, but let's just leave it there. Jacqueline, Jesus Christ. Stunning, Mr. Simpson. That's all I would do. Some videos would absolutely explode. Off the top of my head right now, I always remember the one that got 20 million views. It was, funny enough, of the cat and BB, I think it was, at Armageddon 1999 in a chocolate pudding match. And I just clipped it. Literally just me in front of her TV. Oh, it should be over there. Me in front of a TV like that. Yeah, just stick it on TikTok. 20 million views that got. There was another video of a transgender man, same thing. And that got something like 2.3 million views. There was a Stone Cold Steve Austin one, stunning gold dust into a portable toilet. It is absolutely hilarious. That got something like 1 million views. But other videos similar that were more, shall we say, clickbaity and more catching of the eye, 10,000 views, 200 views, same hashtags, everything. But it just wasn't being pushed through the algorithm for some reason. Now, for me, when it comes to social media, as I've discussed to death, I really could not care less about it. In fact, I was sent a private message, Jesus, a DM from, well, it went into my message request. I actually was, you may have seen me typing away last night when Matty was speaking for an hour about Haaland. Fucking hell. Never again. We were speaking about Haaland, and I saw there was a message request, and I thought, oh, here we fucking go. What toss is this going to be? It basically just said, hi, I was forwarded your name by somebody, I'm not going to name who, basically a popular member of the FPL community, and just wondering if you wanted to be part of a non-FPL group chat. And I just wrote back saying, I'm not being rude or anything, but I think this guy's trolling you or winding you up, because I'm pretty certain I told this person, or he heard me say, that I cannot stand group chats. I hate them. Absolutely detest them. But the point being, though, is that when it comes to social media, I'm just me. As I keep stating, I just upload clips of the Bill, The Office. If I am watching any wrestling, I'll just upload some clips from wrestling. That's it. That's all I do. But as we all know, if you want to grow a social media page, you've just got to stay consistent with the same thing. So, for instance, with my own personal YouTube channel, in theory, I should really only be either just releasing Sky Fantasy Football content, Road Rage content, and that's it, as separate things. Not all just on one channel. But I don't care about it. It's just not even a hobby. It's just me just uploading a video from a dash cam, or me just quickly in front of the microphone chatting absolute nonsense for 10 minutes about what I'm doing with my Sky team. That's it. And yeah, like with many people that grow a channel or grow a Twitter account or whatever, it's because they're consistently putting out the same content every single week, and their audience grows through that. I'm not blind to it, but the point being is, like, going back to Dan, is that he finds it very stressful trying to work out the algorithm. Like I said, there are some content creators out there that are full-time that are finding it very stressful to work out the algorithm. It's dark, it's grim. And I was talking to Mr. Reed yesterday about this Jeff Marshall that I watch for his underground videos, and how I've kind of stopped watching his stuff. The reason why I've kind of stopped watching his stuff is because I'm kind of seeing through the cracks now. He's just coming across desperate in his videos. Now, you may be thinking, how can you come across desperate in videos about the underground? Well, the videos are getting shorter. So one of the reasons why I love Jeff Marshall was because his videos average was about 15 to 20 minutes long. And it was just of the bloke. He's 50, I think he's 51, 52 years old. He doesn't look it, but he's like 51, 52. And he was a really enthusiastic bloke that would do videos about the London Underground stations or whatever, and just interesting facts about them, and also the quickest ways to get to this station, to that station, and so on and so forth. It was genuinely really interesting. It was like 15-20 minutes, well-edited videos. Fast forward, how long have I been watching him now for? 3 years? Fast forward to today, his videos have been cut down to like an average of 10-11 minutes. Because he's just chasing what the algorithm's telling him to do. Well, people don't watch videos after a certain time, so they just go, all right, then we won't record after a certain time. I know of an independent podcast, no disrespect to them, complete fucking nobodies. I'm a nobody, but even I've got more clout than them. But I'm a complete nobody, and yet they chose to sell out by adhering to an algorithm, and they've stopped now because they can't keep up with chasing. They can't figure out why they're not getting listeners. But rather than just doing the content that they're doing, they're just chasing a fucking algorithm. So they've just stopped. They've quit. I always think to myself, you had a really good podcast. It was a lot of fun. Someone like myself found it really, really funny. And then all of a sudden you start talking about, like in a jokey way, how you've noticed that after a certain time, like let's just say the podcast is an hour and a half long. And then the algorithm is saying, well, listeners stop listening after half an hour. So then they just decided, right, then we're just going to do 40-minute podcasts. And then what they did then is then congest everything all into one. So rather than two individuals having a really interesting conversation and a funny conversation about what they were talking about, they just went down to 40 minutes. And then all it became is just this blur of conversation. I'm just like, this is shit. And then, of course, what happens, everybody? Have a guess what happens then. Then later episodes, they go, oh, we've discovered that people stop listening after 20 minutes. Where does it go? It's like they use that terminology on Mind Pump about, that thing on Mind Pump about fat loss and how cardio is a really poor way of, for a fat loss journey, essentially. And it's like, well, your body's, how have I forgotten the bloody word? Metabolism. Your body's metabolism is running at 1,600 calories. So while you're doing nothing, it's burning 1,600 calories. Right then, but you want to bring the metabolism even further down. Right then. Now it's down to 1,000. Your body can run off 1,000 calories. Now what? Well, I still feel fat, so we're going to drop even more calories and continue doing even more running, so it drops down to 800 calories. At some point, it will stop. So your whole life is then, you're living off 800 calories a day, but you're still not losing weight. And you still feel, because of your body dysmorphia issues, fat. And it's the same in the world of content creating. So an algorithm says no one listens after an hour. Right then, better drop it down to an hour then. No one's listening after 40 minutes. Better drop it down to 40 minutes. No one's listening after 20 minutes. Better drop it down to 20 minutes. No one's listening after... You get the fucking idea. Where does it stop? And I genuinely find it so fascinating when I do listen into these podcasts that I've never heard before, but I do it for research purposes, or like I did with this Aston Villa streamer. And you're listening in and you're going... It's too fake. It's not you. Yeah, well done. You've got X amount of thousands of subscribers or whatever. But like I said, when you're a specific niche market, you know, whereas like at least with here, with Elite FPL, we know what our market is. There'll be people watching this going, I fucking hate this. In fact, they're not even watching it now. Oh, the algorithm. There are other people that love this chat. And it's always interesting. Like I said, it's always interesting when you look at others and go, Christ, I thought I had it bad. Actually, on reflection, my life's all right. For instance, with me, I work in a mental health hospital. And I think there are some people that say, I've got mental health issues, which I'm not saying they haven't got. Try working in a mental health hospital. Yes, obviously, this is a completely different level. I get that. Some of them are psychiatrically gone. I get all that. But I just find a lot of people, personally, use mental health as an excuse not to sort themselves out. And like me and Jason were discussing on the call afterwards, we were talking about like the cost of living and everything. And I talked to him about London. I go, well, you are right. Like what your situation is at the moment is tough. Try being in my shoes, where my wages is literally every single penny. In fact, when I was speaking to, again, ironically, a guy called Jason at work, he asked me, how much money do you spend a month on food? And I said, well, an average I spend £7 a day right now, because since leaving Tesco's my food bill has actually gone down, but I'm spending on average £7 a day on food. So what's that? 7 times 7 is 4, so that's £49 a month times 4, that's 100, let's just say 200 quid a month on food. It's £196, but 200 quid on food. That's just an average. But when you throw on top of like occasionally going McDonald's once a week at the moment, because those Philly cheeseburgers are delicious. When you throw into account Lidl's delicious Christmas muffins, where I bought 8 of them yesterday because I thought, as a joke, I'm just going to eat them live on air and every time a goal went in. But I was just so pissed off I didn't want to do it. But I've still got 4 in the cupboard. You know, they're not cheap. They're a pack. Well, they're 89p each. You know, my food bill yesterday, for argument's sake, total was, this is just food, by the way. Yesterday was £13 that I spent. So I bought, for instance, all the muffins. I bought some salad-based products, some tuna. And yeah, it totaled up to £13 from Lidl's. I mean, don't get me wrong, if it was at Tesco's, it would legitimately be double that price. That's not even an exaggeration. In fact, that is an exaggeration. It wouldn't be 13 quid, it'd probably be about 18, 19 pound, because Tesco's is approximately £5 more than Lidl, give or take. Now again, that's just food shopping. Then you throw into things like yesterday that I bought, the likes of toothpaste and soap and whatnot. You know, that was, and then I threw in some other things as well, like these beautiful jogging bottoms. 15 quid from Tesco. You know, at the end of the month, I work out that I've got about 50 to £100 spare, roughly. Now, someone is clearly saying that's still quite a lot of money, Steve. But that's just an average, 50 to 100 quid added a month. And he made the point you need to cut back on things and everything. It's like, you are right, but why should I stop myself from buying, apart from the fact that it's fucking my teeth up? I get that. But what is wrong? It's like my mate Bradley said, what is wrong with me having luxuries in life sometimes? Like, why can't, if you want a McDonald's, have a McDonald's? You're working as a fucking porter for the NHS, for fuck's sake. Why can't you treat yourself? Why do you have to live on a pittance? And it's true. Like, if I want a fucking McDonald's, I'll have a McDonald's. Well, yeah, if I want a McDonald's, I'll have a McDonald's. And yeah, I just think that, like I say, when you look at other people's circumstances, you realise, fucking hell, I thought I had it bad. Like I always joked on the Total Steve podcast about the homeless situation in London, and when I used to deliver in like Leicester Square. It's mental when I think about that. Delivering in Leicester Square. I always remember having to, it's crazy because obviously as someone that lives in London / is a tourist, and going down to Leicester Square, and you know, you'd always see like delivery drivers and stuff. I'd never in a million years think that I'd be one of them. And then eventually I was. And I always remember like one when I had to go to Chinatown. And going down, you're literally shitting yourself because you're like, if I get this wrong, if I get this turning wrong, if I get this manoeuvre wrong, I'm fucked. I always remember one time when the sat-nav took me down a road, really, really tight alleyway. And I'm thinking, this can't be right, this can't be right. Because there are thousands of people walking down here. But I couldn't get out. I'd already made the turning manoeuvre because I couldn't see the people properly that ahead of me. And then I just assumed that people were just walking on the road, which technically they were, but there was a reason why they were walking on the road. Because right down the very, very bottom, the road was closed off. The sat-nav didn't know this. And I'm thinking, I'm fucked. How in the fuck am I going to reverse out of this? Now, I did. You know, I had the reversing sound. Did any of the tourists give a shit? Nah. Just walking through you as you're reversing a very large vehicle backwards. Can't see a thing, just using your mirrors. And I was just edging my way out very, 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 very slowly, reversing out. In Chinatown, there was a bit where, if anybody knows London, it was actually the bit right next to the M&M store in Leicester Square, and next to is it the Lego? Yeah, it's a Lego shop. Yeah, you got the Lego shop and M&M store. I mean, Leicester Square's a shithole. I mean, it's made out to be like this amazing place. It's not. It's a dump. It's just a waste. When I say a wasteland, I mean quite literally with the amount of rubbish that's just dumped there. It stinks. Because of the amount of restaurants around there as well. It's a dirty, disgusting area. But like I said, because it's got the big cinemas there, it's made out to be something amazing. But anyhow. But yeah, right there's like a turning point. And I parked up and I'm thinking, how the fuck am I going to get out of this? I can't reverse backwards. It's too dangerous. So I generally had to get a cleaner. What was it, Mr. Reed? Don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about it, mate. You'll get it round. And I'm like, you sure? Yeah, don't worry about it. And thanks to his help, I did get out. But it was only because of his help. If I was on my own, you know, me doing that manoeuvre would have been very, very dangerous because it was such a tight... It wasn't even a 3-point turn. It was just a turn in the road. Yeah, I just think, like, when I went down to Leicester Square and going down to, what's it bloody called? It was on the tip of my tongue just then. Shaftesbury Avenue, Soho area, and seeing some of the homeless people there. You think you've got it bad. I always used to do this joke in my head. I mean, it's terrible to say this, but you'd be getting out your truck and you're like really, really stressed because you want to try and find a restaurant or a flat in these condensed city areas. And you're like, your heart's pounding because of the stress and everything, and you're worried about where to park and stuff because you're shitting yourself that you're worried that you're going to get a ticket and everything. And like, I always remember like occasionally just parking up and there'd be like a homeless person just on the floor, just soaked through from the rain. And they're like constantly looking up, obviously, and just like, spare some change to all these tourists, and they're just walking past. The person doesn't exist. And I just kind of get out of my truck and I just look, and I acknowledge his existence. But I always do the joke in my head, like, you think you've got it bad? You're not a Tesco delivery driver trying to find flat number 12B on Shaftesbury Avenue where the sat-nav is basically not telling me where it is. Is that a joke, is it, Steve? Yeah, hilarious. Brilliant. It's grim. I always remember another one that really angered me. Was I remember I was outside fucking hell. It was some really posh area. It was near Leicester Square. And there was these tourists, and they were deliberately I was just watching, I was just observing it, how desperate they were to get the right lighting for their picture. And I thought this was disgusting because they were trying to get the perfect lighting for a picture for the old. Where's the camera there? Oh yeah, lighting, yeah. And what was next to them? 2 homeless people just like lying in their own shit and piss. Like I said, soaked wet through. And it was just the differences from these people that are quite literally at the end of everything, just survive, just literally just living. And then right next to them, you've got these tourists that are like, my biggest worry is the lighting correct for this shitty photo of the millions we'll be taking just today alone? It is grim. But why are we even talking about this? Do you know, I don't even know. But me and Jason were having a conversation, like I said, afterwards, and we were saying what a very, very good stream it was. I mean, it was a long stream. I mean, fucking hell, I mean, what did it total up to? 3 hours, wasn't it? No comments on it. Thanks for that. No comments at all. That's the Elite FPL community for you. We love Elite FPL community. We don't support them by just commenting on the Poxy video. Now, I can't do that. Can't even do that. Writing some generic thing, great stream. Yeah, it was... Alright, it was 2 hours 44 minutes. So nearly 3 hours long. And Matty FPL was on it for an hour. Talking about Haaland. Not owning him. But the main thing is he's doing well in Sky, so... When he wins the £50,000, who's laughing then? But we were talking about the stream and everything, and about the challenge stuff, and we were just making the point, like, what we're needing, you know, is, as I've just joked about, just basic support. Like, I mean, Podner, you know, he sent in that message, didn't he, on Discord about sharing on social media and everything. And as I've stated a billion times, just share clips. If you find a clip funny of what we're saying, or just a moment that's impacted you, clip it, put it out on Twitter, put it out on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. I do not care. That's the easiest way to get, if you really want to support the show. Or the easiest way is quite literally just commenting after the stream. Like I always do, is just some generic sarcastic comment. I mean, yeah, like as Podner said, you know, he says here, share our link on social media channels like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Like, I mean, I don't even do that, to be honest with you. It's very, very rare that with anybody. Like, take the volley as an example that I was listening into yesterday for the Chelsea Man City game. And did I share a link to their channel? No. Did I tell people to come over to watch them? No. But what I do is what I'm doing now. I talk about them. I think that's the biggest advertisement you can possibly get, by talking about a channel on a media that you're doing yourself. So in my case, this video right now, I'm talking about a channel, and if anybody wants to check out the volley, check them out. I like listening to them. And if you like, it was Matt that joined us, well, that we did the simulcast, even though YouTube was fucking broken that day. Still angers me, that. But yeah, if you like that stuff, check it out. And then, like, usually what I do on Twitter is, for instance, the other day, or yesterday more specifically, when Chain Wrestling came back, I just tweet about it. You know, glad to hear Chain Wrestling back. Now there's a small, very small, or for instance, when they put out a poll and they say retweet about it and stuff, and like occasionally I will retweet it, and I'll just put, for anybody that even bothers reading anything I say, can you please vote for this, because I do not want to hear Si and Mags talk about it. Now, there's a small chance that somebody that follows me that's into wrestling may go, fucking hell, they're covering Cactus Jack versus Triple H at Royal Rumble 2000. I remember that event. You know what? I'm going to check that podcast out. I'll download it when it comes out on Thursday. That's me helping the channel, because somebody that likes the stuff that we do here thinks, well, if they like it, then maybe I'll check it out. I know for fact on FPL Juice, as an example, people have gone there because of me. I know that for fact. But what I always say, and I know Jason doesn't really like it, but there's a difference between someone like Matty or whoever writing in someone's like a big channel stream saying, you should come to Elite FPL and stuff because it's better than this or whatever, words to that effect. It's like, no, don't do that. That's disrespectful and it's not nice. However, if you watch FPL Juice or whatever and you're only going there because, oh, Steve-O talks about them all the time, write in the chat. First time viewer, because Steve-O from Elite FPL really enjoys your show and thinks that I would like it. Now, whether you like it or not, that's down to your own decisions. I can't believe that own decisions is when David Brent says to the disabled lady, I don't know her name, is it Barbara? You did a podcast about it, Steve. I'm sure her name's Barbara. And do you want to put that nose on? No, I don't. Good for her. Her own decisions. Yeah, that's your own decision whether you like it or not. I couldn't care less whether you like it or not. I know if it's the same with Planet FPL, isn't it? A lot of people, from 3 years ago, were literally going to James's streams because I basically said, go and watch it. Support it. And I know that for a fact. And that's what you just need to do. Just the easiest way to any channel that you watch, any independent channel that you watch, is just showing your support through social media. For some reason, people don't do it. They'll happily retweet Expressions is, oh my god, Expressions is going mental. This is so funny. Yeah, but it's fake though. I can even see that it's fake. I can literally see that he's doing that for clicks. But the equivalent on this channel of Steve or Jay, like I said, Jason talking about Man United passionately. There's got to be at least one Man United fan that watches this channel that agrees with what Jason's saying, or whether they agree or not, actually. Just clip the fucking bit, even if it is the most clickbaity bit of what Jason's saying. And then just release it on social media and go, Jason from Elite FPL has got really interesting opinions about Man United and Ten Hag. He thinks that Ten Hag should be fired. Watch this. Now there's a small chance that somebody will go, what's this twat saying about Ten Hag being fired? Click. And then they watch it. And then you never know whether they like the content or not. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. And like I say, you've got to look at your own behaviour when it comes to like people coming to us saying about supporting, how to support the show. And it's like, well, what do you do to, quote, support others or talk about others? And, you know, I'm not going to name them, I'm not going to embarrass them, but like an individual came forward to me and just sent me some videos of various YouTube channels and everything. And I'm just like, I thank you for that, but I'm not really interested. But they're still sharing their stuff. But when it comes to us, it's in the live chat, it's, I love Elite FPL, it's amazing, it's my favourite content. Never tweet about us though. Even though they're very, very active on Twitter. Not a single word on Twitter about us. It's just weird. It really is very, very, it's a strange world. That whole sharing people's content and everything. And like I said, I'm not sat here saying that's what you need to do, but just replying to Podner's comment and everything. The only way you can support us is by doing what you want to do to help. And sorry, I've just seen an important message come through. Cool. Get him a haircut then. A haircut and a shave. Here we go, Mr. Reed. This is just for you. It's disgusting. What is? The fact that you haven't shaved. What do you mean? I know. What do you mean? I want to have a shave, see? And that's exactly what I mean. It's disgusting. Disgusting the fact you haven't shaved. What? That's kind of a mixture between the bloke that says, now look here, I'm going to bash your skull in. Faulty Towers, for anybody that doesn't know. We were also talking yesterday as well about, I don't even know why this conversation came up, but Jason was the one that was... I didn't encourage this. It was actually Jason talking about kids these days on their phones and stuff, and he was just saying how introverted so many kids are and everything, how they just are just obsessed with phones and stuff, etc., which is very, very true. It's actually really, really, really... I mean, yesterday, I'm not joking with you, there was a girl at the bus stop like this. I don't even think... I mean, she was like that. It was fucking horrific. Wearing a short skirt. But then he just started talking to me about, like... Because, oh, that's right, because we were talking about kids and everything, and I was like, I'm really, like... It just amazes me what it's going to be like for my brother's son to grow up, because he's only 2 at the moment. What's it going to be like when he's 16? It's the same for Jason's daughter when she's 16, and he just like was just I really just don't have a clue what it's going to be like in however many years' time Hayley's 16 and whatnot. But he then said, like, what's your situation regarding relationships and everything? And like I say, I will openly admit I'm documenting about this con job that is Bumble, and it is very difficult to meet a woman and everything. And like I said, the easiest way to do this is by going out, socialising properly in pubs and everything, like Dan does. But in London, it's just going back to the pricing. London's just so expensive. You know, you're talking 10 quid. Ooh, 10 quid. 10 quid to get into central London. Now, for me, it takes me... it took me about an hour and 20 minutes to get to the FPL meets, as an example. That's an hour and 20 minutes. It's only... I think it's like 6 miles away? Something like that? To get to Waterloo? 6 miles. An hour and 20 minutes by public transport. Just to get to Plymouth from Paynton takes 45. Admittedly, that's by car. Even if you went by public transport, you've got to get a train from Paynton to Newton Abbot down to Plymouth. That's about an hour and 20 minutes. But the distance is 24 fucking miles. Not 6. And then you throw into account the cost of alcohol and everything, which is expensive. If it wasn't for FPL meets having I've forgotten the word now. Whatever the word is, but they've got 20% off food and drink. If you didn't have 20% off, I would probably have only bought one drink. I'll have happily have paid 8 quid for a double vodka lemonade. I would not be buying any more. But because it went down to £6.30. Ooh, a whole 2 quid. Yeah, but still, £6.30 for a double vodka lemonade. It's not too bad at that point. That's what it should be. That's what the price should be anyway. So it should be 20% off that. Which then knocks it down to what? £4.80 or whatever it is. And it is difficult, like, meeting people or talking with people and stuff, because like I said, they're just too consumed. I mean, even me at the hospital, trying to speak to somebody, it's just fucking nigh impossible, because they're just so consumed with a fucking mobile phone. You just like, I just can't be bothered. It's like you're talking with them and it's just like, you've seen it all, you probably do it yourself. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, fuck off. Just fuck off. Whereas ironically, at the FPL meets, yeah, there were a lot of people on their phones, I get it, but when they were speaking to one another, they weren't doing this. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. No. They were having a conversation. It's why it was so fascinating, me and Dread. We're just chatting one-to-one. Anyway, I've got to get out of here. Ironically, I'm about to record a podcast with Andy. Bang Bang Podcast. Oh yeah, that just reminded me of Andy. So yesterday, I actually did discover that Andy Let's Talk FPL has kindly become a member. I generally don't know how long he's been a member for. I don't know if he's just literally just signed up or it's just for a month. Was he gifted it? I don't have a clue. But it was so funny. Like, think about this. Now, we all had a laugh about it on the stream. But I believe he did a spoiler for the Aston Villa goal. Now, admittedly, I hadn't seen it. And I've seen everything. I hadn't seen the messaging or whatever. And after Aston Villa had scored from, I think it was McGinn who scored the first. Oh, McGinn. I looked at the chat. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was just like, please no spoilers, please, else you will be banned. Referring to, well, just Andy, that's all it said. And you know the rules. And I'm getting sick to death of people spoiling the game. And then Brew wrote, are we timing these people out then? And I was just like, and I think I'm pretty certain I said, words to the effect of, I'm sick to death of these fucking cunts not adhering to the ruling of this boxy stream, spoiling it for others. And then someone in the chat said, is this Andy Let's Talk FPL? And he just wrote back, yeah, and then just laughing away. That was really, really funny, actually. That was one of the few bright moments of yesterday's bloody stream. For crying out loud. But no, in all seriousness, I really do appreciate all you guys that are members and everything in all seriousness. And like I always say, if you like these videos coming on, this will be premiered tomorrow. But yeah, if you want these videos continuing throughout the international break, you know what to do. Just comment below. For whatever reason, you guys have stopped commenting. I have no idea why. But in fact, it just tells me you just can't be bothered with these videos anymore. Fine by me. But yeah, if you want to continue the conversation, add anything about this, then please, by all means, do. Because remember, it's all just going to go out publicly. On that note, let's get out of here. I've got to do my podcast with Andy talking about RVD versus John Cena, One Night Stand 2006. And the question that he's also asked me is, which 3 wrestlers do you want to have a Christmas dinner with or a Christmas pint with? And my answer is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, CM Punk, and Brock Lesnar. Other than that, let's get out of here. Oh yes, I'm tempted to go to Heathrow today because the weather is, I think it's called Storm Debbie. Yeah, I am tempted to go up Heathrow and do an FPL video. You never know, right after my haircut. But see you later, members. And for anybody watching on a premiere, if you do want to support the channel financially, $1.99 a month, and you can afford it and you want to support the channel, why not become a member? Cheers all. If not, just simply hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. It really does help support the show. Thanks all, and I'll see you whenever I see you.